Well, hello everybody. How is everybody doing? We're gonna bring on our guest right now. Here he is, Mr. Jeff Tolbert.
Hey, Spencer, how's it going?
Brother, I'm blessed. How about you?
Same here, brother, and highly favored. Boy, it's good to know
Amen.
the Lord this morning.
Hey, it's always good to know him. Amen. Jeff, when did you ask Jesus to come in? When did you accept Jesus?
Well, I accepted him, Spencer, at an early age. I've shared this testimony quite on the road and different things, but it's kind of special to me. Of course, our testimony should be special to us, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But when I was 8 years old, we were at a youth camp in Asheboro, North Carolina, and we went down there with the church and just going down there to have a big time. And as a young kid, I wasn't expecting that the Lord would come by like He did,
Amen.
and so anyway, we were in a youth camp down there, and we actually had meetings at night under the pavilion. And one of the preachers got up that night and preached, and just caught my attention at a young age. I was 8 years old, and it was just when he said, "If you don't make it through the night, where would you spend eternity? Would it be in heaven or would it be in hell?" And I knew that hell was an awful place, and I didn't want to go. So the Lord convicted me that night and drawed me, or He drew me, and I stepped forward. And as I stepped forward, my sister grabbed my hand, and we both went down and got saved that night, 1979, in Asheboro, North Carolina, the youth camp. So it's best decision I ever made, and He's always been there, and I highly recommend Him in a big way.
Amen. Uh, Jeff, I was talking to my boss. I travel on the road with him with a group, and I was talking to my boss, and you played on one of his solos today.
Oh, really?
Called Fresh. Yeah, Dwayne Hudson.
Okay, yeah. Man, I've played. I've been very blessed, Spencer, through the years to be fortunate to be a part of so many people's recordings and projects, and I take that as an honor. And just what a blessing. I've met so many great folks through the years, and a lot of them I can't remember. It's kind of like being on the road. A lot of folks come up and say, "Hey, you remember me?" But I hadn't seen you in about 10 years, and of course, if you're like me, we change as time goes on. But I know people's faces a lot of times, but can't remember a lot of people's names. But that's certainly a blessing to be able to have been able to play on a lot of people's recordings and as a utility musician.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, you mentioned you play stuff. You started at a younger age playing with groups like the Easter Brothers. How was that experience for you?
Yeah, well, growing up in the same hometown, I mean, they were like heroes of mine. I think some of the best songwriters there's ever been was Russell, James, and Ed. They really encouraged me as a young age. Me and my dad would sing together and go, from churches to events as I grew up. But when I finally began to get a little bit older, just more of the music and more of the so to say, the gospel groups or that would travel and stuff, that just really intrigued me, and I felt like at a young age that loving music so much, that's what I wanted to do. It was just like it was in me, and I wanted to do that. And most of all, being saved and born again, it gave me a desire to want to serve Him and to do more. And as we grow in the Lord too, So now I can see where that really means way, so much more than it did back then. But it's kind of like we were intrigued. I mean, they were my heroes. So I had the opportunity. My dad, a lot of times we would go sing, and we'd be in a meeting with them, and James would preach. And when James would preach, a lot of times when you preach, it kind of messes with your vocal, but he always sang tenor. So a lot of times he would get my dad to get up and sing a song or two and relieve him and sing some tenor. So as a young boy, I can remember standing on stage beside of them and just, kind of starstruck and loved it. Of course, their whole family was very talented, Jeff and Steve Easter, and then Russell Jr., and so many of them that just kind of took me under the wing, and I learned so much through the years. But at the age of 15, they give me my first opportunity to be able to get on the bus and go travel.
Oh,
And
wow.
I never will forget that. And it meant so much to me, and I learned so much through the years of traveling with them. And it's kind of weird, or it's kind of wild. It's like the first place that we ever played, they picked me up from high school in the bus to go play. And the first place that we played was Hominy Valley in Candler, North Carolina. with the Primitive Quartet. And then who would have known that, probably 20 some years later, that I would be actually playing with the Primitive Quartet. And then God blessed us to be able to be together almost 30 years.
Yeah, and then after Jeff, when did you play with the Isaacs? Did you play with them in the same year too?
Yeah, I did. Well, kind of a rundown of everything in my past. I worked with the Easter Brothers to start with when I was 15, and then I wanted to travel more and do more. Of course, Jeff and Sherry had just started, in what they were doing, and they actually were with the Lewis family. And of course, all those folks, we was always together. I love that music, and we would go hear them sing and different things like that. But so I was familiar with all of them, and knew them as friends. And then, so Jeff and Sherry gave me an opportunity to come with them. Right around, it would have been the very late 80s, early 90s that I came with them. I don't know exactly when, but I came with them and began to play guitar, mandolin, and fiddle. And they were just starting out as far as, Jeff and Sherry. So they had a lot of doors open for them and big opportunities. So we traveled a lot. Of course, me being young and single, traveling the more the merrier. And we had a great time. I learned so much with that, had a lot of great opportunities to do a lot of things like the Nashville Now show. We did a lot in Nashville, Gaither, different things like that. So it was cool to be a part of that, and certainly love Jeff and Sherry, and to this day are still some of my best friends, and we love them dearly and love their music and ministry. And then after that, I came off the road for a little bit. I actually filled in with Karen Peck. A lot of people don't know that, but
wow.
yeah, Karen was going through a season there where she was looking for a singer, and I guess I was all she could find. But no, I actually went with them some, and I filled in some for some of the musicians occasionally, and then I actually went a few weekends with them and sang harmony, and that was a lot of fun. It was a blast. I don't consider myself as the caliber singer that Karen is by no means, but it was fun to sing with her and Susan, and love them dearly, precious folks and good friends of mine as well. But I got that opportunity to do that. Then it was in, I guess, probably, I want to say late 92, early 93, somewhere in there. The Isaacs were actually playing in Elkin, North Carolina, which is a small town just below my small town there in Mount Airy, North Carolina. And me and a buddy of mine, we said, hey, the Isaacs are going to be in town. We need to go see them. Well, I love their music, love their singing, but I didn't actually know them, And so that being said, we decided to go down that night and just hear them. So actually we went down, and of course, everywhere I go, I've either got a mandolin, a fiddle, or something other in the guitar, or our guitar in the car. And so we went down and hung out, and then they asked me to play that night on stage. And I forget, I remember they played the Bluegrass Melody as a gospel melody that they did. And so it was like a lot of the old hymns and stuff like that. And so we did that night, and just had a lot of fun, got to introduce myself, and they were just like, so nice to us. And we got to know them. And then they mentioned something about maybe me traveling with them, maybe part-time or doing something other. So I went with them next weekend, and pretty much after that, I guess traveled with them. I can't remember all the time frame, but it was like, like around 4 or 5 years there. I worked with them and traveled with them.
Wow.
So we had some great times together. We were all kids back then, and man, it was just on the road, and we did a lot of fun things together. I mean, even when we went singing or whatever, we'd be at Kings Island and different things, just Cincinnati Reds ball games and stuff like that. We done a lot of that stuff. So traveling, we made it fun back then, but we were all kids and just loving it. But I will say this, that through all of this, though, it's been amazing to me how God has allowed us to be able to minister and use the music to touch so many lives. I remember when I came with them, I have a Father Who Can. I just recently went #1 and in the charts and stuff. And what a blessing that was for so many people to be uplifted by just one song. So, you never know the impact that you're doing, whether you're preaching, whether you're singing, or whatever else, how God can use what you're doing and
That's right.
bless so many people.
But Jeff, everybody remembers you. And when I first met you, you were singing with a group from Canada, North Carolina,
Yeah.
the Primitive Quartet. How did you join that group, and how was that experience for you?
Well, that's another thing, Spencer. I guess in your questions and me trying to answer these, it's amazing how I see God's hand in my life. And there's never been a door that's been shut that he hasn't opened another one. And sometimes we
That's
as
right.
people, we worry about the future. We worry about this and that and the other, and I'm the worst as far as, what's next or what's going to happen and things like that. But, through the years with all of these groups, like we're talking about, the Easters, with the Isaacs, with the ones that I've traveled with through the years, uh, somewhere along the, time and on, excuse me, on the road, we worked together a lot with the Primitive Quartet. And even being at a young age, and I'll tell you, I'll share that story with you here in a minute. It's a really cool story about the Primitives. But I was blessed to be able to know them in a personal way because we traveled so many dates. If I was with the Isaacs, we did a lot with the Primitives. And then even when I was with the Easter Brothers, we did stuff with the Primitive Quartet. But I was raised on that music and
Wow.
loved it. There was something about it that was just special. And the Primitives to me have always had a unique sound and different, but not only that, but the touch of God is just so strong in their ministry and their music and what they were doing. So I worked with them, quite a bit from time to time. And then that being said, when I was with the Isaacs, a lot of times Mike would ask me to join in and play the fiddle with them, so I would back them up and play fiddle. And that was always a treat, just something extra to do. And I love music so much. So we got to do all that. But I guess I came off the road with the Isaacs, and it's just one of them seasons in my life to where, it was time to do something different. And I've always been a big fan, and one of my heroes as well was Ricky Skaggs. I love that music. I mean, as far as the harmonies and things like that, and probably, I mean, I loved all kinds of music, but just his style of music and the harmonies and stuff like that growing up, that always intrigued me. So he was, just one of my heroes as well. Well, I got the call and the opportunity after I come off the Isaacs to go with Ricky for a little bit. So I traveled with Ricky and done some dates with him. First places I ever played was the Grand Ole Opry, and I never will forget it. But it was an experience that I won't never forget. It's something that I always wanted to do, but then again, I was like, Lord, is this where you really want me to be? And so God allowed me to do that just for a short season. But I knew that what I needed to do was to be able. Are we still on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we are.
I got you. I lost you there for a minute. I thought, well, did we cut off? But anyway, but being able to do that for a short season, God allowed me to be able to do that and experience that. But I knew that there was something more in what I wanted to do, and I knew that God had a calling in my life to be able to sing gospel music. And the older I got, and the more that I realized that, I was like, Lord, if this is what you would want, then you allow it to happen. But he had different plans, and so he allowed. It's almost like God said, "I'm going to let you do this for a little bit, just because this is something you've always wanted to do, but you need to be here." And so, but when I came, I did, like I said, I did some dates with Ricky and stuff, and Ricky's a great friend of mine, and all the guys, and love him dearly. But so after that, there was a short little span there that I wasn't doing anything. I just kind of took a break from the road. And then Reagan had called me on the phone in July of that summer. I think it was in somewhere around 98, 99, somewhere in there. And had mentioned to me about maybe coming down for the weekend and playing with them at Hominy Valley. And so I told him I already had plans and different things. To make a long story short, we had talked on the phone several different times. Then finally I told him, I said, well, I'll just pack up my instruments and I'll come down. And he wanted me to come down and stay with him and Joyce. So they so kindly let me come and welcome me in. And I stayed with them that weekend and played at Hominy Valley. And I tell folks a lot of times, Spencer, it's kind of weird. It's like, I did that weekend, and that we had a great time at Hominy Valley. Of course, if you've never been to Hominy Valley, it was a special place, and we got to share that 2 times a year in the summer and also in the fall. But and I think I forget how many years. It's like since 1981 that event had been going on. So many years that we were able to do that. But I tell folks everywhere we go, and when I did that weekend, I went with them the next weekend. And as far as I knew, or as far as I know, I never did get hired. I just kind of got on the bus, and that's where I ended up, And it's amazing how God works things out. I mean, I had no idea that was taking place, and God was using that in a way. And in almost 30 years, God allowed me to be able to travel with the ministry of the Primitive Quartet. And what a blessing that's been in my life, because I think there's certain things in life that we do, we get experience and we learn. And each one, I can go back from my early years of traveling since I was 15, that I look through those years, how God used different things to season me in the life, to be able to do what I'm doing. So that's pretty cool. And then another thing I'll tell you right quick, when you're talking about the Primitive Quartet, when I was about 13, I guess it was something like that, I traveled with my dad in a group. We sang a lot and started out singing in Summersville, West Virginia, at the big Summersville singing up there in West Virginia. Well, this particular year, they were starting to bring in other groups, and one of the groups that they brought in that year was the Primitive Quartet. I never will forget it. They pulled in that big black bus with that big green sign on the side of it that said Primitive Quartet, and I was like, oh my gosh, the Primitive Quartet's here, and so they actually worked that program with us that day. And so we were out in the field. It's like an outdoor festival, kind of gospel singing outdoors, and a lady come up. And if folks remember or know the Primitive Quartet's music, there was an album that they had called Because He Loved Me album.
Oh, yeah.
That they recorded, yeah. And I just thought the picture on that album was so cool. And just, and that was just, man, that was big stuff in my eyes, back then. Well, there's a lady come back to the table, and Mike was sitting there. And she said, I bought this album, but I can't get it to play. It seems to be scratched. And so I remember Mike taking a pen, and he wrote "bad," B-A-D, in big letters on the outside of the cover. And then he reached over and he tossed it into a big 55-gallon barrel. Just those trash cans. They had a big trash can there, and he just throwed it over into that. Well, and he gave her a new album or an LP. So she got it and took it, and then they kind of went on their way. Man, I was like, I got to get a hold of that. I got to get a hold of that album. So I reached down in the trash can and pulled that record out and put it on the bus with us and took it back to Mount Airy, North Carolina. And I took that LP and I put it on my record player to see if it would play. There wasn't a scratch one on it. It was perfect from the very beginning to the end. And I was just like, wow. And I took that album, and I can remember laying my instruments around the bed, and I would go from instruments to instrument, but I would learn to play with that album, Because He Loved Me. And to this day, I still have that album that Mike put those 3 letters on it, said "bad" on it, and I still have that today. So it's a pretty cool story to go back with from years past, and to be able to have something like that.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, since the Primitive Quartet retired in 2023, the Lord spoke to you to start your own group. Tell us how that got started.
Well, it's kind of one of them things, like I said, there's seasons in our lives, and we sometimes try to figure things out. But, it's really, if you just put things in God's hands, and it's really hard for us to do that as humans, as this flesh, to just say, well, I'm not going to worry about this. I'm not going to worry about this. So we felt like, I think it was about 2022. the talk began, and maybe even a little bit before that, but nothing major like it was in that year about maybe retiring. Um, and I guess we all considered and thought that 50 years of the Primitive Quartet was a good milestone and a good mark to reach to. So, there was a lot of talk about that and different things like that. So we decided it was hard. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy for nobody to retire. I mean, we got so many great, precious friends that we love on the road and and so many opportunities that God has blessed us with. But you think after 50 years, it's like, Larry wanted to spend time with his grandkids, and Mike wanted to do some things, and Randy wanted to do some things, and I know Reagan wanted to do some things. But even to that, it's still hard to just give it up, and quit. But we felt like 50 years was a good place to be. But that being said, I didn't know exactly what. I'm sitting there going, well, I don't know what I'm going to do or how this is going to happen or what should I do, And then I'm sitting there thinking, well, Jeff, if you try to do something on your own, it ain't going to amount to much, And but the more that we got closer to retirement, and the more that those gentlemen, I'm talking about Norman and Mike and Larry and Reagan and Randy, as much as they mean to me as mentors, as friends, as people that I've worked with side by side for years and years and years, there was something that was inside of me that was like, if I can at all, I certainly don't want to see our music die, and I certainly don't want it to fade away. And there's a younger generation out there, that needs to hear these songs. That was, if it impacted me at a young age, I mean, why can't we, continue these songs on to maybe impact others? So I just couldn't get away from it. I kept tossing it around, and even the name, I throwed so many things out. I tried to figure this and that and the other out. Nothing never clicked. Nothing never worked. And when we come across Jeff Tolbert and Primitive Road, I was like, well, hearing the Jeff Tolbert part, maybe, hopefully, that they'll remember me in the industry. And, you got to remember, this is a whole different change, And then I'm sitting there going, well, even if that, I don't know, just seemed like Jeff Tolbert and Primitive Road's just got a good ring to it. It feels good. And maybe with that going along with my name, then folks will put two and two together and just kind of give a click of, who it is and what it is and things like that. It was never nothing about any kind of, fame or I don't want none of that. It's not anything about that. It's just to remind people that, there's a part of the Primitive Quartet, that music, and of course for 30 years, I've been a part of that, almost 30 years, so I wanted to do my best to keep things alive. So that being said, and to be honest, when we first started out, it wasn't easy, but nothing's never easy. And, there was a struggle of who can go and who can't go, who wants to go. And, and then when God starts talking to folks about, doing a ministry for him and a call, you have to make that decision. Do I want to quit my regular job, or do I want to go out on faith and, and do this for the Lord? So it was a struggle for some at the beginning, and it was tough on me because I was wanting to do, but didn't know exactly. And then it seemed like God has really worked that out. And the young guys that's with me right now, I'm so excited about having them to be a part of it. There we are. Not much in color. That was a black and white album, but that's our first one. And but I'm so excited about there's one. But I'm so excited about the young guys, and it's amazing to me how much our music through the years I look and see now, and just to hear them talk, to sit around and pick, to fellowship with them and stuff like that, how important that our music has been to a younger generation. And I mean, you look at the inspirations and you look at a lot of different ones here lately, and I'm glad that they're still hearing this music. I'm glad that they're taking hold of it. And then, of course, the young man from Adairsville, Georgia, he's actually, he came with us when he was 15. He's now 17, but that's Elisha Moore. And Elisha's doing a great job of singing. He loves our music. He loves the inspiration. He loves all kinds of music. But he's just so energetic about wanting to do more of our stuff and our music and go back years, past and dig up some of the songs. Skylar Coffey is from Kentucky, and he was raised on our music. He can about sing every primitive song there is. I mean, it's amazing how many songs he knows. He knows more than I've done forgot as far as that goes on some of those things. But he's doing a great job. And then Mitch Gallion from Sweetwater, Tennessee is playing the bass and singing some bass, and a tremendous help as well. But God has put that together to where in the younger generation, I'll tell you a really cool story about that real quick. There's a guy come up to me at Singing in the Smokies or up on the mountain there at Bryson City. And he said, Jeff, he said, I really didn't know. He said, I kept hearing something the other day that sounded so familiar, and it had a primitive sound to it. And he said, I kept hearing it in my house, and I'm like, what is this? And he went back there, and It was his 14-year-old daughter was playing our new CD, and he didn't even know that we were singing. Yeah. And he said, who is that? And his daughter said, well, that's Jeff Tolbert in Primitive Road. And so she basically introduced him to our music that he has grown up on and loved for years and years and years. And when he heard that, so he came up to me there and introduced himself. And I just think stories like that are cool, And then another thing for folks to come up and say, hey, they can brag on us and say, we love your picking, we love you singing, boy, y'all got good harmony, and whatever else. But when people come up, Spencer, and say, you've been a help to me tonight, you've been an encouragement, the words of the song helped me tonight, I needed that. And even for them to come up and say, I was listening to your music and God got a hold of me and I got saved listening to one of your songs. So what a blessing that is. And that's what we need in this walk.
Yep. Hey, Jeff, people's asking questions online.
Yeah.
Paul Bessler, he said, ask Jeff about returning the coffee, about returning half of the coffee can.
Oh, my goodness. They're not going to let that die, are they? Well, that's kind of a long story, and I don't know if that's still on Facebook or that video is still out there somewhere or not. But man, I went to get some coffee, and I actually need my wife here to tell that story. But I guess the funny part about it was she got so tickled at me she couldn't quit laughing, and then she posted it on Facebook. But I went and bought coffee, and I got. Trying to think how this story goes. Anyway, it's been a while, but what ended up being was I bought coffee, and then I got back and I actually grabbed the coffee that I had there that was halfway empty. I didn't know it was there. I didn't know I had it. And then when I reached over, I was like, oh my gosh, I just bought some coffee and someone has stolen the coffee out of it and left it open. So I went and took the coffee back and made a big deal out of it at the store and got my money back, or either got a new can of coffee. I forget now what it was, but it was pretty funny. Then when I got back to the house, I looked at my wife and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And she's like, what? And I said, I thought that this coffee is full. And I said, I went back and fussed and complained about how, it was a long story. But there's one good thing that come out of that story. The gal that came up to the cash register that day, and she was having a tough day, and her language and everything about her was just so bad. And I remember even me being frustrated with my coffee. I told her that Jesus loved her, and and she was just so, but it was just terrible. But I got to witness to that girl, so that was one good thing that come out of it. But I was really aggravated that day too because of that coffee. But that was a mixed up mess. But I'll have to get her back on sometime and recap on that on Facebook.
She needs to.
It's a crazy thing.
Amen. Jeff, somebody said they met you back last year, and y'all was in Crossville, Tennessee at New Hope Baptist Church by the Mark Sites.
Yeah.
Y'all was with the Inspirations.
Yeah, over there with Brother Brian Simmons over there at New Hope. Yeah.
Well, Jeff, what's the union group? Go ahead.
I just say, tell him a big howdy there.
Howdy, Brother Mark. He said howdy. He's watching.
I can't see those comments like you can, but And I want to say hey to everybody. We love y'all so much, and thank you so much for, man, your prayers and support. And man, it's been amazing, and it's so good to come out now, with what we've been doing and everything, and see so many familiar faces that we've met through the years. And for you guys to come out and be with us, it's very special, and we appreciate it so much. We were up in Independence, Virginia, last Saturday night with the Inspirations.
Oh yeah.
And up there, and the Inspirations and the Primitives have sung in that general area for Gene Cox and many others for years, in that area. But it was so good to see the young Inspirations, and then us to be able to bring our music along and be together, and to see that crowd come out and support, and be a part of what we did. And man, I'm telling you, God moved the other night in that singing, and it was really good. So those things like that, man, you can't put a price on those things. And it was so good, and hope and pray we're going to be back next year.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. We had Reagan on live a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I asked him this question. Would the Primitive Quartet, I know you ain't singing no more, would the Primitive Quartet ever get back together, do any reunions anytime? And you don't know?
I don't know. That would be a hard question. I know I've heard Larry say many, many times, he said, Jeff, he said, I'm so content right now. I realize what God has given us, and to be able to do what we did for 50 years. And, I'm just content, just, doing what I'm doing and things like that. Any time like that, it'd be special, but I really don't know the answer to that. I really don't.
Well, you and your wife, you and the Inspirations, y'all host a big gospel singing. In fact, you got one in August and one in December. Tell us about that event.
Yes, I'm glad you asked that. The August one is coming just around the corner. And many folks have been, we got a few more rooms and cabins left. Not many, but we got a few. As a matter of fact, we talked to several folks yesterday on the phone. But it's August the 14th through the 17th. We're going to be at the beautiful Fontana Village Resort. And that's going to be right there, about as far west in North Carolina as you can go on Lake Fontana. There's a historical dam. It's the largest dam on the East Coast, I think this side of the Mississippi. And it's a beautiful, beautiful area. And we're actually going to have one of our worship services we're going to have at the Overlook out there on the dam. My son will be preaching. Brother Coy Adams will be preaching. Brother Brian Simmons from over at New Hope, you mentioned that. He will be with us, and he'll also be emceeing. And then Brother Chad Edwards. And then we've got some special, different ones, guests that's going to come and be with us this year that we're excited about, that nobody knows about. And then not only that, but, some of them local guys from over in Bryson City, they're going to be with us, the Inspirations. They're going to be with us. So we're going to have the Inspirations. And then it's going to be Jeff Tolbert, Primitive Road, the Inspirations. And then this year, we're so excited to have our brother with us, Mr. Jonathan Wilburn. And Jonathan is going to be with us, and he's so excited about being a part of that as well. But the thing about this event that I'm talking about, it's an all-inclusive event that will happen on the 14th through the 17th. Now, this is all your food. This is all your lodging. This is tickets to the singing, tips, taxes. Everything is all included in one price for two people. So, if we've got a few rooms left that are still available, not many. And like I said, the phone's ringing. I had two this morning, and we talked to several yesterday. So we hope and pray to get that filled up, because we want as many to come as that can. What's special about this event to me is Lord laid it on our heart about 5 years ago. God has really blessed it each year. We had some folks saved last year. It's a great time of fellowship. It's a great time of, just being us being with you guys and y'all being with us. It's just really special. My son will be preaching, and it's always good to have my family there. And it's good to have the Inspirations family and Jonathan's family, and folks come. And there's times when you can just sit out on the porch out there and look across the mountains. And they got a big lodge up there, plenty of room. It is a mountain lodge now. There's a little bit of walking and some hills and stuff like that, but for the most part, everything's accessible to be able to get around. We'll have some golf carts and different things like that. Each night we sing in the events hall at 7 at the events hall. And man, we've had some wonderful, wonderful services, and so we look forward to that. So if it's anything that you might be interested in, you can give us a call at 828-712-3720 or 828-712-6744. And you can give us a call and make your reservations. Plus, you can look us up on Facebook and then also primitiveroadmusic.com. You can find the information out about those things as well. And the other event, many of you know for many years that we sang in Pigeon Forge. And we always had our singing up there at the Grand Smokies Lodge Resort. This is another thing that we hated to see die. And I had so many precious friends and fans to come up and say, Jeff, we would really love if you could keep that going or do whatever. So it's a special time between Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's December the 11th, 12th, and 13th. We'll be at the Grand Smokies Lodge Resort. They have built a new conference room that seats probably, I would say we could probably get 800 to 1,000 people in that conference room. Last year, a lot of folks come out. We had a great crowd. I'd love to see that place filled up. And it is a wonderful time when you can come. And we always made a joke with that a lot of times when we would advertise it on the road, and I still do today. I'm like, you guys, you got to bring your wife up and take her shopping, and then go over to Cracker Barrel and eat supper, and then just come across the street and be with us each night at 7 o'clock. But you can make your reservations at the Grand Smokies Lodge Resort. And even if you don't get a reservation there and you have some timeshare or somewhere else you want to stay, you still can come to the singings at night. That's December the 11th, 12th, and 13th. And that's going to be that same lineup with Jonathan Wilburn, the Inspirations Quartet, and then also Jeff Tolbert and Primitive Road. So we'd love for you to come and be a part of that and share Christmas with us as well.
Well, Jeff, it's been an honor to have you on, man. People are enjoying y'all. I'm telling you, people are enjoying. I ain't tell you this, but we play every time I go live, we play a song from this CD. We played one that you did with the Primitive Quartet the other day. More pressing than going. People are enjoying that.
Oh yeah, Elisha does a great job on that, and that's the thing about it. It's a lot of those songs are so special. Bring back a lot of memories. Every time I hear Elisha sing that on stage, I think of Norman. And Norman was like a father figure to me. And of course, we lost Norman a few years back. Me and him was on a bear hunt, and we just never know about stuff like that. But what a blessing that he was, and those songs can still live on. You know what I mean? And
right.
And you really think about the lyrics of it. Of course, I don't care who sings it. I don't care who does it. He is more precious than gold to me. He's more precious than my next breath, my next step. He's altogether more precious than anything that has ever come in my life. And I love him, and I'm thankful that he loves us like he does.
Well, Jeff, do you got any closing remarks you want to tell anybody?
Well, we're just excited about a lot of things. Lord's really opened up the doors for many things, and we want to do all that we can. And I pray that whatever Jeff Tolbert and Primitive Road does would bring honor and glory to him, and realize that we can't do what we're trying to do without the touch of God on what we're trying to do. I'm thankful for the history that I just shared with you through my life of music, and to be able to continue that on until God, I want to do what I can as long as God will allow me to do, and that. But we desire your prayers that God would use us, and it's so great to see so many folks out there that are just so excited about us continuing on and to do things and to be able to sing these songs. And most of all, Spencer, if I could do one thing at all, I want to be found real.
Amen.
I want to be the real deal. I want to be the real deal. I don't want to be something that I'm not. And I pray that these young men that are with me, that they will grow in this, and God would use them. He already is in so many ways with the songs and everything else. And we're excited about a new project that we're working on now. We've got some songs laid down, and we hope to do more and more as time allows us. Another thing too, I want to share right quick. God opened up a lot of doors for me, and that's another thing that we've been so busy the last year or so. I had an opportunity to open up for me and my family to come to Maryville, Tennessee. So we're not living in Candler no more. We actually moved to Maryville, Tennessee, and we are now in the ministry over at Springview Baptist Church on Highway 411. If you're ever up around the Maryville area, come over and be with us in service. But that's at Maryville at Springview Baptist Church, and I'm actually the music director, and my son is an intern pastor there. So God opened those doors in a mighty way. And so now we're living over here. So, but we've been really busy juggling all this stuff around. So hopefully, if we get everything lined out here, we'll be able to do more and more and more with Jeff Tolbert and Primitive Road as well. But we love you, appreciate your prayers, and anytime we're around, come see us.
Jeff, let me tell you this. Since I met y'all, I joined a gospel group. Now we on the same chart y'all on, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a song called "Honestly" that Isaacs recorded years ago. We went back and recorded it.
Oh, I remember that song. Actually, I was on that recording, honestly. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, since I saw you, I've been joining a group, and they told me to ask you, do you remember my boss, Dwayne Hudson?
You remember what now?
You remember Dwayne Hudson?
Oh, yes.
You do remember Dwayne Hudson?
Yeah.
That's my boss.
Oh, okay. Well, good deal. And y'all go by?
Dwayne Hudson and Revival. I'll see you on our Facebook page.
Okay, yeah. Well, man, that's great, Spencer. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I appreciate what you do. I thank you for loving
y'all.
the Lord, and I thank you for everything that you've been doing and being a blessing to a lot of folks. And we appreciate you sharing our music.
Hey, the best music ever. I love bluegrass music.
Oh, yeah. Love bluegrass, love gospel, and love all the folks. And, man, it's just one big family. And I'm thankful that God can use all this, and for you to be able to share it with other people. That's a tremendous blessing.
Yep. Well, Jeff, like it always says, and I'm glad, and I heard you do this a while back. My hope is in the blood, and
yeah,
and people love that song. We played that song the other day, and there was Jeff Reagan told me the story how that song was written.
Yeah,
from Walmart.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. I mean, that's one cool thing. Of course, Reagan is a tremendous songwriter, and there's a lot of great songwriters out there, but to hear the story of a song really makes it even more special. But I'd have to say that probably Reagan probably wrote one of the best songs that's ever been written, as far as I'm concerned. And the line in the line in the second verse is so powerful. It's all powerful. All the lines in the songs are powerful. In this song is powerful, but the first line in the second verse, there's only one thing that will matter when the time shall come. We can have everything in this world, and relating to Sam Walton, which he was talking about, we can have everything in this world, but without Jesus Christ, we have nothing. And we need him in our lives, and how powerful that is. And all because of his precious blood that was shed on Calvary, that we might have life eternal. And I'm thankful for what he done for this old boy on the cross.
Hallelujah.
And, he's been
I'm
good.
glad he shined his life right in my soul. Hey,
it's it. Yeah, man. And what a blessing it is. And I'm so amazed that to see folks through that song and be able to share that song still with a younger generation and with an audience right now. And it's just a powerful song, and I'm honored to be able to try to sing it.
Well, Jeff, it's been an honor and privilege to have you on. We get you on sometime in the near future, buddy, because I'm going to tell you something. People like good bluegrass music, and I met you. I've actually heard the very first time back a few weeks ago, and Singing and Smoking. Boy, we had a good time up there.
Wow, that amazing. It was good. We've done that the last 2 years with them, and that's been such an easy place to sing, and just man, God touched and blessed in so many ways, and we're excited. I mean, we're working with a lot of different groups right now, and of course, another thing too, to be able, there's a big history and a lot of stories that goes along with the Inspirations and the Primitive Quartet, and so many that some people don't even know, but it's just a lot of history that goes along with that. So when we get the opportunity to work together and sing some of those old songs together, what a blessing that is. And folks seem to really like that. And I know as far as the Inspirations go, and as far as we certainly enjoy it too. And that's one reason these events that we're hosting, this lineup and everything, we certainly love being with our friends.
Well, Jeff, one more question. Your pastor asked a while ago. Let me find
You probably want me to mention his name. Did I not mention his name? That's
now,
probably right.
he asked. He said, "Do you have the songs picked out for Sunday morning?"
Oh my goodness, that's a question he asks me every week. You talking about? I think he does that he's just pushing my buttons. Is what it is.
If he don't, he'll get them ready for before Sunday.
Well, I tell you what, I'll just make it up to him. I don't know if I've got all my songs lined out yet, but I will have to say this, that he's my friend, a buddy, and loves the Lord, and he's been such a blessing to Springview Baptist Church through the years. That's Mr. Ben Ward, Pastor Ben Ward. I'm going to mention his name, so they'll say, you didn't even mention my name on there. But he's him and his family are so sweet, him and Rachel and all of them. They love their kids, and they've just opened their arms and welcomed us into Springview, and we're very thankful. And all the folks at Springview, we love you dearly. And like I said, if you're ever in the area, come up our way up Highway 411. Come be with us. Join us in church sometime on Sunday morning at 10:45, and then 6 on Sunday evenings, and then also 7 on Wednesdays. And we'd love for you to come and be a part of it, or even just check us out on the live stream. And we're working on the church right now, doing a lot of stuff. But there's one thing about Pastor Ben, though, Spencer. He's been down on his knees this week, and I'm thankful for that. He's been, he's been. You know what he's been doing?
Praying.
No, he's been on a mission trip. They've been over in Swananoa, North Carolina, putting down hardwood floor.
Well,
so I'm gonna tell him, he needs to get down on his knees and do some more of that other stuff, like praying, like what you was talking about.
You about to get in trouble. He gonna call you out Sunday morning.
Oh, he does that anyway.
Yeah, Jeff, I listen to y'all every Sunday when I get home from church on live stream.
Oh, wow. Well, I appreciate that. We're excited. We got a lot of plans and, for the future and stuff like that. And like I said, I've got a lot of learning to do too, but, working together with the church and everything, we've got some work to do, but we pray that God will just continue to open doors and help us to grow, and to do what we're doing. The church has been doing well, and folks being saved and baptizing and joining the church, and we're excited for Springview. And it's another thing, when you get a chance, pray for Springview, that God will continue to use our church and to minister to people and our live stream. And it's just a blessing to be able to do that. You know what? We do all this for one reason, and that's for Him. And what an honor
all about Him.
To be able to do that. Yeah, because He's worthy, and we get caught up in a lot of things, but I want to get caught up in Him. How about that? We need Him, that's for sure.
Well, thank you for joining us again, Jeff. It's been an honor and privilege to have Mr. Jeff Tolbert on, and we get you on some other time in the future sometime, man.
Yeah, we certainly appreciate everything. Y'all come out and be with us. Come see us in Pigeon Forge, and it's not too late right now. You can still make your reservations for Fontana. Come over to, we call that the Mountain Homecoming, and then the event that we have in December, we call it the Mountain Christmas. So we'd be honored to have you to come and be a part of that. You got the numbers on the. So you got the numbers on the screen there, don't you, Spencer?
I got the number how they could book y'all, but the comments, I'll put the comments on there too. The number for that too.
Well, I can give you those numbers again. If you wanted to make reservations for any of that or need anything at all, call 828-712-644 or 828-712-3720. And we would love to have you come be a part of it. It's like stepping back in time. We're gonna have a good time in the Lord, and we're excited about it.
Let me also announce this too. If you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, go subscribe to Jeff Tolbert's YouTube channel. Because there's been a lot of singing videos on there. I mean,
Elisha takes care of a lot of that and keeps that stuff posted and things like that. And we try to let folks know as much as we can what's going on, and even to do more so in the future. But
well, thank you, man. We enjoyed it, and hopefully we get you down here in South Georgia.
Yeah. I've talked to a few folks about that. And of course, we're only booking Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And then, of course, by Saturdays, I need to be, fairly close to home so we can get back on Sunday mornings. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And do that. But we've talked about doing some South Georgia dates, maybe on a Thursday and a Friday, and then working our way back up towards home. But we would love to be that. Got a lot of great folks.
you got to come back to Jeff Caesar's homecoming and sing up there, boy.
Yeah, we've man, a lot of good memories there, and we've sung a lot down through there, and of course we get down to the Florida area and stuff like that as well. So we hope we can work that out.
Well, thank you, man. The best is yet to come. For Jeff Tolbert and Primitive Roof, thank you, man, for joining us.
Appreciate it, buddy. Love you, brother.
Love you too. All right, bye-bye.
See you.
See you.
I was lost in darkness when I began to pray. Then Jesus came to me on that fateful day. Now he says, child, I know you're sorry for all that you have done. Just reach to me, for I am the one. I am the one who died on the tree, and I am the one who will set you free. When I heard you cry, have mercy on me. I am the one. I am the one. Now when I'm down in the valley and I can't see the light of day, I look to Jesus, for he is the way. Now he says, child, don't be discouraged and don't be afraid, for lo, I am with you now and always. I am the one who died